What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. And I want you to pay close attention to these two clips because if you understand the ideas behind a lot of what's happening, you'll have a clear vision of what's taking place, and you will question a lot of the narratives. And that's what you want to do, is always question. Never take things for its face value. Dig deeper.
The essence of socialism is that you surrender quite a bit of power over your own life to the state. Well, we all do that to some extent, but of course it went much further. You pay very high taxes, and they wish to take even higher taxes because they think that politicians can spend money better than the people can spend it. The more you take away, the less there is for private industry, and that's where the creation of wealth comes. So you have to establish very clear limits on the role of government. And really, politicians, I think, should sometimes just be a little bit more modest about their abilities than they are. We can't run everything, and we shouldn't try.
Mrs. Thatcher, though, you're going for attitudes. You're trying to change the way people think about their role in life. It's almost sometimes as though you think by your own resolve, you can somehow inspire people to be different. You're still inside, if I could suggest, a little of that very bright greengrocer's daughter who made herself a chemist, made herself a tax lawyer, made herself prime minister. Anybody can.
I don't really quite recognize what you're saying. I believe certain things very strongly. I believe that we were going towards a way of life in which people were constantly looking to the state to solve their problems and to do things for them. When the state does everything for you, it'll soon take everything from you. You will then have no basis for personal freedom, political freedom, nor economic freedom. I saw it going much too far, and I think it would have gone even further had I not won that 1979 election. Too far ever to pull it back.
And that's the quote that you need to really focus on. When the state does everything for you, it'll take everything from you. And then you'll have no basis for personal freedom, political freedom, nor economic freedom. And so that's why people think, oh no, let the state do it because then we can get this, this, and that, and all these benefits. No, folks. It's better when the private industry takes a hold of it instead of government trying to take more and more of the pie. Now, check this other video out of ideological subversion.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
And folks, and if that doesn't sound familiar to what's currently taking place, I don't know what is. People, you can present them with facts, with all sorts of evidence, and they still will not see what you're talking about. They won't believe it until it's too late. And to end this video, here we see they're now preparing us for keeping inflation permanently higher than the arbitrary 2%. Without new investments in making energy cheaper like we did in the late 70s, it'll be impossible to bring inflation down. And so they're going for this new Agenda 2030, and they're going to accomplish that. And if you should watch The Uneducated Economist, because he breaks down a lot of these Fed speeches, and he talks about how they're trying to keep average inflation at 2%. Not wait till it gets down to 2%. No, they want average inflation. So inflation could go down to 2% currently or even lower, but they might still keep interest rates elevated because they're aiming for an average of 2%. And it's been lower than 2% for the last decade or so. And so there's going to be a lot more pain in the future ahead. And as you hear people with different opinions, you're able to assess it and come up with your own conclusions about what you want to do and with the information that you've gathered. So, folks, prepare. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to this channel. It's the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.